Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is January 1st, 2026. We are starting a brand new year of reading and we're gonna have a great time with it. My goal for the year is only 25 books, and that sounds really low, and it is for me. I've been reading on average like 50 to 75 books the last couple years. And I just don't know if I'll have time this year. I graduate, I'm having a baby, and once the baby comes, I am not guaranteeing that I am going to get much reading done at all, let alone, film it or post it or document anything, because I'll probably be reading in the middle of the night, and that is not a time you want to see me. Anyway, that being said, today's video is going to be very fun for me and hopefully fun for you. I'm going to be trying to find my first 5-star read of the year, and last year it took me until January 9th to find a 5-star, and it took me 4 full books. So I read a couple novellas pretty quick in the beginning of January, and then a couple longer books. The 4th book of the year last year was an ARC. It was called Make Me, and I was sent a copy of it from the author. And I loved it. I gave it a 5-star right away. It was wonderful. It took me like 2.5 days to read. It's like a 600-page book, and it took me 2.5 days. I just sat and just kept flipping the pages. So this year, my goal is to find a 5-star read before my 4th book and before a week into the month. Now, I do have some good options. I have a couple options that I need to read pretty imminently because they have to go back to the library pretty soon. So I'm just going to go through them real quick and then tell you what my plan is moving forward. First, I've got The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This book is about a group of retirement home, senior citizens, and they are going to solve a murder. A murder happens on the premises, and they get together every Thursday and try to solve this murder. This book will not take me a very long time to read. It is super, super short chapters, like a couple pages here and there, which always goes very quickly for me. However, it is the first book in a series, which might hurt it a little bit. My brain, how it is wired, takes me a little bit of time to get used to characters and really connect with people in real life and in books. So I'm a little bit nervous that I will not connect to these characters as quickly as I hope, and that could hurt the overall rating of the book because I just won't be as interested. And because it is shorter chapters, sometimes they might not get enough page time for me to really get in with the characters. I'm not sure if this is third person or first person just by flipping through, but if it is third person, that also kind of hinders my ability to connect to some of the characters. So that is an option. I do think it'll be highly rated just because of all of the other people that I have heard talk about this book and read this book and rave about this series. So I do have hope that it could be a higher rated book, but I'm not going to bank on that being my 5-star. My second option is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. I've read an Alice Feeney in the past and absolutely loved it. I think I gave it like a 4.5 or 4.75 stars. I do have high hopes for this book because it is one of her first books, and I've heard a lot of people enjoy this one because the premise is very different. It is about a man with facial blindness and his wife who go on this trip together, and there is somebody there trying to sabotage said relationship. So I think it sounds really interesting, and I don't know, I just think it's gonna be a good time. If this does not work, I do have her newest book coming in the mail from Book of the Month. I loved her other book so much that I need the new one now. That book's not working for me. I think maybe the new one will, and I'll give that a try instead. Next, I have The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinniman. This is a chunker. I really hope it doesn't come to this. This will probably be the 4th book I read in this video because it is such a chunker. If I have to get to a 4th book, that is. If I find a 5-star in the first couple books, there will not be any more books. I will just call it there, say, oh my gosh, I did it. The Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook is the 3rd book in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I've been loving the development of the characters thus far, as well as the development of their group. They've been adding people to their little clan in the dungeon, and It's just been really fun seeing the development as well as the addition of new characters. And the second book kind of started adding a political war scheme between the alien factions, and I'm kind of going for it, and I think it's gonna be talked about more in this one. This has a potential to be a 5 star because I have given both of the other books so far like a 4.5, like very high, great ratings. I love the books so much, and I'm very excited to continue with the series. So that is an option. Last, I have Tailored Realities by Brandon Sanderson. I love Brandon Sanderson. I have given multiple of his books 4.5 to 5 star ratings. I've read, I think, 5 of his books. Every single one of them has been rated very, very highly. I think this could be a 5 star. Very much could be a 5 star, but also the structure of it could also dampen that rating a little bit because this is a short story collection. There are 10 short stories in this book, and they are all science fiction, fantasy, which I love. I'm just a little nervous because short story collections in the past have not done well for my brain because it's really hard for me to first connect with characters and second switch between perspectives that quickly and just drop a story altogether. So I am going to try it. I have the audiobook for this, and this has to go back to the library on Sunday. So I'm going to try to finish this in the next 2 to 3 days and then bring it back to library. That being said, this will be my first book. I am going to start on this. Today I have a few things I need to get done around the house, so I will be listening to the audiobook for it. But I also want to physically read this book while I'm audiobooking it because there are pictures. I will update you in probably a few hours, we'll see, and bring you my thoughts and a synopsis of the first few stories and all that for Tailored Realities. Okay guys, it has been like 4 days. It is January 5th now. I've read one story out of here, and I finished it just recently, like literally 20 minutes ago. Crazy. I was gonna wait until I finished 2 more to come update, but oh my gosh, that was insane. And Brandon Sanderson has a wicked mind. Like, he created an entire universe with complex characters and had a full plot with a twist I didn't see coming in 65 pages. First story gets a 5 star. Like, I'm sorry, I don't normally do short story collections, and I don't really like short stories normally because they don't have a full, like, continuation from start to begin. Like, start to end, I feel like they don't finish a story fully to my liking. I don't know how he did it, but I was engrossed the entire time. Like, I loved it. I listened to the first half of it on my way home from work the other day, and then I read the last of it just now. I had to go to the car shop and get an oil change. So I stayed at the car shop for 15 extra minutes just so I could finish it. So I'm about to jump into the next couple stories. I think I'm probably gonna read, let's see. So the first one was 60 pages, so I'm gonna try to read like another 60 maybe, which would get me through, or maybe I'll read the next 4, because the next 4 is not quite 100. So I'll probably read the next 4 stories and then read the rest of them except the last. So I'll read the next 4, and then the next 4 after that, and then the last story is like 150 pages, so I'll just do that one in one go. So far, this book's awesome. I'm not sure if it's a 5 star. I am very excited for it. I think the rest of the stories have a lot to live up to. And then I did get my book of the month, so this may be my next read, even though I did not originally have it in my pile. But this is Calling My Name. I want a good thriller. Alice Feeney's thrillers are always great for me, so I might jump straight into this because it sounds so good. And it's really short. It's only like 300 pages, but it's like 70 chapters. So very excited for that one. But that is the update. I will see you later. I did not read much after I updated you yesterday. I did read a couple of the shorter stories, and then we went to dinner, and I came home, and we just kind of like laid in bed because I was exhausted. My husband was exhausted, and all we wanted to do was just watch TV and kind of go to sleep. So I did not read much more of Tailored Realities last night. Now, I did listen to about 3.5 hours of the audiobook today, so I did get a lot of reading in this morning. I am currently on story number 7, just at the beginning. I have not started it yet. And it's called Defending Elysium. It's page 165-ish. I don't know if I'm going to read any more tonight. This is where I'm at with this image. But I might read a little bit tonight. I don't think I plan on reading any more of this tonight. I think I'm just gonna go shower and lay in bed and watch YouTube or something. But update time is, this was great at first. I really loved the first story. First story was an easy 5 out of 5. And that was Snapshot. Snapshot was wonderful. Brain Dump and I Hate Dragons and Dreamer were all like less than 10 pages, or about 10 pages to 20 pages, around that range. And they did a lot. Like, I think he does a great job writing short fiction. I just don't think they packed as much of a punch as they could have. So, like, those 3 stories combined, I'm gonna give like a rating of maybe a 3.5, 3.75 star. And then Perfect State was another of his longer stories in this book. I liked it. I thought it was very creative, and overall, I think I would probably give it like a 4.5. I thought that one was really fun, and all of these are very different from one another. There's not really any continuity between the stories, and I do like that. It keeps me on my toes. I think that's what some story collections have as a fault, is they try to keep either the same characters or the same like setting or something, and then you just kind of don't feel like they're truly separate stories. Each of these is very, very different from each other. The probability approaching 0 was like 500 words. It was just like a short little blurb, and that was fine. I do really enjoy all of the postscripts for all of these books, or all of these stories, because it really explains what he was thinking while writing them, and I do really appreciate that. That being said, I don't foresee this being much more than a 4 or a 4.5 star read altogether. I am enjoying it. I'm like this far in. I'm gonna definitely listen. I'm gonna keep listening to this one because the audiobook has been working for me. I really like the narrators. There's a bunch of different narrators for this. So I do really enjoy this overall. So I'm gonna keep listening to the audiobook, just make my way through it. I'll probably give a couple more updates as to what I think and then my ultimate rating. I just don't think it'll be a 5-star read unless the Moment Zero, which is like the big book or big story out of this collection, if that one really knocks my socks off, it's the last one. It might make me feel something and make me up my rating. Now, that being said, I am going to keep working on the audiobook for that. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star read. So I did go ahead and start My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney tonight. I am about a third of the way through it. I'm on page 88. I'm disappointed so far. I loved Beautiful Ugly with all of my being. That book was one of my top books of last year. Loved that book. So when I saw she was coming out with a new book this year, this early in the year, I was very, very excited. I'm like, I need it immediately. And I don't know, right now it's like a 3.5 star, which is really disappointing for me. I thought I was going to absolutely love this. This premise sounds amazing. I just think it's very different than I expected. I did not expect it to take these twists and turns this early. I didn't expect it to be a dual timeline where there's multiple characters telling the story but from different timelines. I didn't expect that. And then it also, like, there's not a list of trigger warnings or anything, and I feel like there should be. Like, I don't get triggered by much, but I could see people not enjoying this because of some of the topics it has already talked about and some of the topics it's covering and how it's talking about them. So definitely look up what this is about and anything that could be considered a trigger warning, because I can see some people not enjoying this because of that. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it because of that. I'm just saying that other people might not like it. I don't know. I'm having problems with the split timeline. I'm having problems with unreliable narrators. Like, I think all of her narrators feel very, like, confused and unreliable. And there's been some writing things that I've had a little bit of an issue with. It's fine, but if you don't know, it's one house on a hill. This husband and wife couple bought it a few weeks ago and moved in. She goes on a run, comes back, and her husband is at home with another woman who looks exactly like her and is claiming to be her. So you don't know who the real wife is. You don't know, like, what is actually going on. And it's been interesting. Like, following the two storylines has been fine. It's just not what I expected. And I think that is definitely hurting the entire story as a whole. The other thing is, I know they add other points of view, and I don't know if I really want other points of view. I think I just want to stay in the two women's heads rather than going into the husband and then going into the cop. I just feel like it could have, I don't know. Right now, I don't think I need it. I might change my mind. And who knows, maybe the rest of the story is going to go completely different and the twist is going to be something that absolutely knocks my socks off. And I'm going to end up loving it as much as I loved Beautiful Ugly, if not more. I really wanted this to be my 5-star, but I don't think it's going to be. I still have Rock, Paper, Scissors. Once I finish listening to Tailored Realities, I think I'm going to listen to Rock, Paper, Scissors because my library has it available and it sounds like a good time at the moment. And it's on my monthly TBR. So that is the plan right now. I know that was a really long ramble about things I'm reading, things I've read, all of that jazz. I'm liking them, but nothing is like hitting me here and making me love them. So that is the goal right now. That is the whole goal of this video. So I will probably update you tomorrow. I'm gonna go shower, get in bed, and I'll probably listen to a good chunk of Tailored Realities tomorrow, at least another couple stories. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of it because I think I still have like 11 hours of the audiobook. I've listened to 6.5. I think it's a 17-hour audiobook, and I'm pretty sure most of that time comes from the last book, or last story in here. Anyway, that's the plan. I will update you again tomorrow, hopefully, if I remember. And that's it. See you later. So I have an update for you guys. I did listen to another like 5 hours, I think, of Tailored Realities today, and I'm still going back and forth as to what I want to rate this. So I listened to 3 stories today. I listened to Defending Elysium, Firstborn, and Mitosis. All 3 of these were longer, which definitely works better for me. And I really liked Defending Elysium. It took a turn that I didn't really expect, and I really, really like what he did with the character work and like just explaining the science fiction aspects of it. I think he did a great job at incorporating different aspects that you might have seen in other works of fiction. And I think it's really interesting that it's one of the first books he ever, or first stories he ever wrote. So that was pretty cool. And then Firstborn was very different. It was battle strategy, commander type writing, and it took a different twist on the like you're built for this type of trope, and I really liked it. The main character was literally built to do what he does and is terrible at it. He just never had a knack for it. So that was really interesting on how he chose to like flip the script on that, and I really liked that one also. And then finally Mitosis was different. It's like superpowers, but not your stereotypical like superpower type of story. Basically the elites, or the epic, I think they're called the epics, they all have some sort of power, and they're usually like bad guys. And the people fighting them are just kind of normal people. So I thought that was really fun. Overall, Defending Elysium probably gets like a 4-ish. Firstborn, I really, really liked. It was very different from all the other stories. It probably got like a 4.5 star. And then Mitosis was really fun. It was a little bit shorter, but it was still really good. And I think I probably would give that like a, I don't know, probably around a 4, 4.5. Moment Zero, I'm 1 chapter into that. I've got about 140 pages left of the book. And that one, so far, all I've got is that it's more cops and detectives and stuff. So I'm looking forward to reading the rest of that one. There is a mystery, a missing scientist, and I'm very excited to understand what Moment Zero means. And basically each chapter is counting down to Moment Zero. And you never know. You don't find out what Moment Zero is, I don't think, until you get to Moment Zero. So I've listened to 1 chapter of that, and I really was enjoying it, but I ended up going to lunch and then did not turn my audiobook back on after lunch. So that's my update for now. I'm still sitting at like a 4 or a 4.5. I don't know if it's a 5. Moment Zero could push it up. I am really enjoying it. Overall, my enjoyment of this book keeps growing. Every longer story that I've listened to has been really interesting and has a lot of depth to it, even though they're short stories. So I do really enjoy it. I might be convinced to give it a 5 star, depending on how Moment Zero is. If it's really good, blows my socks off, probably would be a 5 star. If it stays around the same intrigue factor that it has right now, this is probably going to be like another 4.5 star Brandon Sanderson book, not quite a 5 star. Anyway, that is my update for tonight. I will update you after I finish Tailored Realities and probably once I read more of My Husband's Wife. Final update time for my Finding a 5 star vlog. It did end rather abruptly. I decided for now I am softy enoughing My Husband's Wife. I just couldn't get into it. I'm about halfway, so I did make good progress. I just don't think now is the right time, or maybe this is not the thriller that I'm feeling. So we did have a softy enough. And I kind of feel bad about that, but also it is what it is, right? It's fine. The next book that I finished was actually an audiobook that I grabbed from my library today just so I could have something quick and easy. I was debating not even talking about it, but I did listen to Unethical by Lauren Beale today. It was just, a fun, smutty romance that was like 188 pages. I gave it a 3.5 star. It's not anything that's going to be super memorable by the end of the year, but I did want to include it because I did read it, and it was my second book of the year after my DNF. Finally, the moment you have been waiting for. My 5 star was in fact Tailored Realities. Now, I did go back and forth a little bit on giving this a 5 star. However, the last story in this book, which is arguably the main chunk of this book because it's over 150 pages, it is wonderful. Moment Zero is what it's called. I loved it, and it brought my enjoyment of this entire collection up so much that this book is a 5 star. I know the last time I talked to you, I said that it was probably going to be like a 4.5 unless something changed with the last story, and I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a super good time. It was very, very different from anything Brandon Sanderson that I've ever read, and ultimately it changed my opinion on the rest of the book. So, Tailored Realities was my first 5 star of the year. I'm not mad about it. Everything has been updated in my journal, and I am so excited. So, I did find a 5 star. It took me 3 books, but I found one, and it's currently January 9th. So, it took me a couple more days than last year to find a 5 star, but I did take fewer books to find a 5 star. So,
that is all for this video. I'm glad I found a 5-star. I really hope that you are finding some great reads for 2026. We are a little over a week in, and I have never been more motivated to keep reading than I am at this point. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, and goodbye.